Since Yu Wenwen and Ji Yu Hao are both level 50 or above, they can choose which dungeon to enter and whether they want to go back to the house they bought in the horror world to rest before heading to the next dungeon. Qin Shi, however, did not receive this treatment and was directly teleported to the next instance by the system. Welcome to the dungeon, Virtue High School. Please complete the quest, find Mina's shoes. Once the mechanical voice in her mind disappeared, Qin Shi realized that she was in a perfectly normal school campus. There were 3 other players around her who were wearing the same bracelets. She still didn't start a live stream this time. Hi, everyone, Qin Shi greeted them first in a friendly manner. It's clear that these players aren't easy to get along with, they're all busy with their own things. Before the game officially started, Qin Shi had already quickly learned about the other players in this dungeon from her bracelet. Li King, level 36. Ma Lixin, level 45. Zhu Xini, level 38. After reading their messages, Qin Shi checked her own level change again. Only level 5. However, with assets already at 1000, eating shouldn't be a problem. What items are there? A reboot card, an invisibility item, and a bounce item. The effects of these procs are quite interesting. The literal meaning, wavy dash, needs no further explanation, you understand. Actually, leveling up 5 levels in just one dungeon is quite impressive in this horror world. After all, other players risk their lives to level up by completing a dungeon. If no one succeeds on the first run of a dungeon, the player will only level up by a maximum of 3 levels. I guess Qin Shi reaching this level is a system compensation. Qin Shi hesitated whether to greet her teammates again, in case she had spoken too softly and they hadn't heard her. Upon seeing Qin Shi, Li King compared her information with the system data and exclaimed in surprise, "It's her. The stunning newbie who successfully completed the S level, Calm Divorce, dungeon with boss Jiyu. My god, she's so beautiful in person." The other 2 also looked over. Isn't this a bit much? Qin Shi thought, feeling embarrassed. It seemed they hadn't missed her, but were confirming her identity. Haha, hello everyone. Qin Shi responded awkwardly to the exclamation. She really couldn't get used to being recognized suddenly, making her feel like a nobody. The other 2 players reacted rather calmly. Ma Lixin kept wiping a gun with a silk cloth, while Zhu Xini just pursed her lips and ignored them. Only Li King was more active. This Virtue High School instance is also of S-rank difficulty, similar to or even more difficult than the Calm Divorce instance. Apart from Qin Shi, the other players were quite worried. They hadn't reached level 50 and couldn't choose their own dungeons. The fact that the system had assigned them to this dungeon that no one had succeeded in was also causing them great anxiety. Once the game officially started, many students appeared on campus, and then a fat man wearing glasses walked up to them. "You must be new teachers. I am the principal of the Moral Education High School. Let me take you to the office to familiarize you with the environment and your work." After the principal finished speaking, he led the way. In the office, the group learned about their teaching content. They are responsible for teaching the students in class 7 of the second year of high school. Qin Shi is in charge of teaching English. Ma Lixin is in charge of teaching mathematics. Zhu Xini is in charge of teaching Chinese. Li King is in charge of teaching physical education. The principal emphasized several points to note. First, don't be afraid of students. Secondly, you cannot skip class. Do not leave the dormitory after 9 p.m. on the 3rd night. Then the principal handed them the class schedule for class 7 and an information sheet with the students' ID photos before leaving. Oh, isn't it the beautiful Qin? What a coincidence to run into her in this dungeon streamer's chat room. Haha, this Shishi beauty is unlucky. She started with an S-rank dungeon and was matched with dungeons with a 0% first clear rate both times. Let's leave that aside and talk about the strategy for the Virtue High School dungeon. For this instance, you just need to pay attention to the 3 points the principal mentioned, and then look for clues. Don't be afraid of the students, because if they find out that the teacher is afraid of them, they will turn into monster NPCs and kill the teacher. Students cannot skip classes. If no one attends a class scheduled by a particular teacher, students will come to visit the teacher. Don't leave the dorm after 9 p.m., because there are ghostly NPCs outside waiting for disobedient teachers. After learning the basic information about this instance, everyone prepared their own lessons. Soon the bell rang for the first class, which was Ma Lixin's math class. Ma Lixin obtained some strategy information for this dungeon during the live stream, so he was able to complete the lesson with ease. Although those students had strange expressions, their behavior resembled that of bad students. They can read novels, read comics, chat, play games, pass notes, and more. Ma Lixin was also used to the horror dungeon mode. As long as they didn't transform, he wasn't afraid. He lectured in his math class, completely ignoring the students below, based on the information he had received. This prestigious school is for the wealthy. Most of its students come from powerful and influential families. Their families arrange everything for them, so they are unrestrained at school and don't care whether they listen to the lectures or not. Some students tried to tease Ma Lixin, but Ma Lixin retaliated with small props. He managed to finish the math class safely. The second period was Qin Shishi's English class. As soon as Qin Shishi entered, several rebellious male students started whistling. Wow, the English teacher is a stunning beauty. Teacher, let's go eat together after class, one of the male students said in a cheeky manner. Qin Shishi was able to handle this situation. She adopted the calm demeanor of a teacher who had taught her before and said, "Okay, but I remember Song Ji has a pay class this morning. If you want to have lunch with the teacher, you'd better finish your last class." The male student named Song Ji scoffed and then fell silent. Once the students had quieted down, Qin Shishi began her lesson. Fortunately, Ma Lixin shared some teaching experience, and Qin Shishi realized that these students wouldn't really listen to her lectures. She's not very good at English. She barely passed the CET-4, College English Test Band 4, in college. If she were to teach English to normal students nowadays, she would be truly misleading them. Chapter 9 In a world of horror, gentlemanly manners won't put food on the table. Teacher, are you just giving us the runaround? Qin Shishi wrote the 26 letters of the English alphabet on the blackboard and recited them over and over, ABCD. She started by reciting individual letters and gradually connected them until she could sing the alphabet song. But her solo was suddenly interrupted by a student. Qin Shishi was embarrassed. Didn't Ma Lixin say that they didn't listen to the lectures, just like the materials given in the live broadcast room? How could they still ask her questions? The girl who raised the question was a bespectacled, clean-looking girl with an aristocratic air, if you ignored the huge, bloody hole in the back of her head. Qin Shishi recognized her from the student list given by the principal. Her name should be Zhu Liwan, the class monitor, and she had good grades. Zhu Liwan, do you think there's something the teacher taught incorrectly? Qin Shishi put on a brave face and said with a serious expression. Zhu Liwan, looking like a good student, obediently said, "Why doesn't the teacher ask us questions? English needs to be spoken to be taught well." It seems this ghostly student was a good student, who loved asking questions in his previous life, although he's become less intelligent here. Qin Shishi certainly didn't sympathize with these students. Jing Yi had once told her that in this world, you shouldn't trust anyone but yourself. Although the mini-bosses in the game's dungeons are all people who died pitifully in life, and the supporting NPCs are all people who did evil in life and could not be reincarnated after death, once you come here, they will only want you to die, and you will fall into the same trap as them. Zhu Liwan's suggestion is excellent. You are indeed the class monitor. Now, please read the English on the blackboard. Qin Shishi went along with her words, trying to save face. A few minutes later, Zhu Liwan actually finished reading aloud obediently. Qin Shishi clapped her hands like a serious teacher and immediately praised her. All of you should learn from the class monitor, you know. The class monitor can recite so well, she deserves praise. The students below also clapped and praised. Our class monitor is really amazing, which surprised Qin Shishi. Zhu Liwan looked smug, then sat down and continued to stare at Qin Shishi with shining eyes. It seems she enjoys being fawned over. Qin Shishi said that she never expected to encounter a student who, like some of her high school classmates, enjoys being fawned over by other students even in a horror world. These students have one thing in common. They are liked by teachers and they listen to their teachers. It seems these students really like their class monitor, and this class monitor might be her breakthrough point. Based on the failures of previous players, you shouldn't ask them about Meena in front of them, or they'll go berserk. So what if they proposed it themselves? Perhaps Meena is taboo in their eyes, but if they bring it up themselves, then Meena might be a name they come up with themselves. When Qin Shishi saw the beautiful and virtuous high school, if anything terrible could happen, the first thing that came to her mind was school bullying. According to the information provided by the principal, there are 37 people in this class. Of course, Qin Shishi wouldn't be foolish enough to take out the information and, like the previous failed players, go with these students to find clues about Meena. During the second half of the lesson, a few students caused trouble, testing whether she was afraid, but Qin Shishi dealt with them smoothly. As the English class was drawing to a close, Qin Shishi asked Zhu Liwan gently, "Class monitor, how many people are in our class?" "Teacher, there are 37 students in our class," Zhu Liwan said obediently as she stood up. Qin Shishi looked at her with faint satisfaction and continued, "Then, as the class monitor, you should take the lead in counting the number of students for me and see if everyone in our class is here. I don't want anyone to miss my English class." Zhu Liwan looked proud and happily started counting after receiving the teacher's approval. Qin Shishi calmly watched Zhu Liwan, observing her expression change from happy to nervous and flustered. At this moment, Qin Shishi asked seriously, "Class monitor, have you finished counting? Is everyone here?" Zhu Liwan replied with a grim expression, "Teacher, there are 36 people, but one is missing." "Oh, class monitor, I'm very disappointed in you. I believed in your abilities and thought you could set a good example, but now we're missing someone. Who is it?" Qin Shishi cleverly avoided mentioning Meena's name, instead subtly asking the class monitor for clues. Squad leader Zhu Liwan hadn't experienced much, so the term PUA probably wasn't widely known back then. "It's too little, too little. I. When a classmate saw that the class monitor couldn't answer, he said for her, "Teacher, the one wearing red shoes is missing." "Yes, the one wearing red shoes is missing," Zhu Liwan replied to Qin Shishi with a sigh of relief. Given the current situation, they probably don't even know the name of the absent student. Or perhaps in their minds, they would never utter the name Meena, no matter what. The one wearing red shoes must be Meena. With an expression of entrusting a heavy responsibility, Qin Shishi said to class monitor Zhu Liwan, "Class monitor, you are the class monitor, so set a good example. Next time you are absent from my class, you have to give me an explanation for why you were absent." "I understand, teacher," Zhu Liwan said slowly, her expression aggrieved. Before Qin Shishi left the classroom after class, she noticed that the class monitor seemed to have a lot of problems. She told the class monitor those words when there were still 3 minutes left before get out of class ended. For those 3 minutes, Zhu Liwan kept her head down, her hand holding the pen with bulging veins, not writing a single word on the textbook. Her expression was obscured, but she seemed to exude a faint aura of ruthlessness, as if she had completely changed. Filled circle, oh, filled circle. Back in her office, Qin Shishi was interrupted by Zhu Shini before she could share the clues she had obtained. "Qin Shishi, could you cover my class? I'm teaching the third period, but I'm too scared. Those two jerks have absolutely no manners. Please help me, I'll be so grateful. Keen Shishi, who cares about your thanks? Do you think I'm stupid? Marlixen, this person doesn't even offer any benefits, he just talks the talk. Leaking, in a world of terror, gentlemanly manners won't put food on the table. Zhushini, looking terrified, begged Keen Shishi for help. Keen Shishi wasn't exactly a pushover, so she knew that if she did it once, it would happen again, which is why she refused. Zhushini's survival rule in this terrifying world is to seek refuge with the strong and survive with their help. She's afraid to face her students alone now, as they might transform into monsters and tear her apart and eat her. But she didn't expect that Keen Shishi, a newcomer, would dare to refuse her, and she felt a little embarrassed. You're just a level 5 newbie, and you dare to go in my place. Such a great opportunity to train and adapt to this terrifying world, and you don't want it. Do you believe I'll use some items to send you to your death early? Keen Shishi and the other two men were clearly surprised by how shameless this woman was. Even the live streams of Marlixen and Li Qingkai were in an uproar. My God, what a shameless woman. I want to go to her live stream and see what her fans are saying about her. Good job, Shishi. Don't agree to her request. I've seen this woman in other dungeon live streams. She's shameless, always trying to get protection from men and even resorting to seduction. Although you can fall in love in this terrifying world, this woman's level isn't high enough. She doesn't have a fixed person to protect her, so she's casting a wide net. She's just a bit morally corrupt, but this time she actually threatened someone. That's going too far. Some players visited Zhushini's live stream and were kicked out by people in her live stream whose values were shattered. Yes, Zhushini also appointed an administrator for her live stream. Zhushini's live stream. Don't you think she has no moral compass? What do you know? My sister was just scared. She didn't do it on purpose. She had no choice. Those two men don't know how to take care of our sister. It's their fault. She is a girl too, isn't she afraid? Why should she be expected to go in her place? The fact that she came back proves she's not afraid. It's a blessing for her to go in place of our sister. It's a chance for her to grow. What do you know? Is the administrator here? Quickly remove those guys who are talking badly about my sister. Haha, birds of a feather flock together. Chapter 10. I have never seen such a shameless person. Seeing that Keen Shishi still wouldn't budge and go in her place, Zhushini actually pulled out an explosive device, a bomb ball that could blow up people and ghosts. Keen Shishi, holy crap, I've never seen such a shameless person. The other two men also disapproved of Zhushini's bullying and coercion of the level 5 beauty Keen Shishi. Although Zhushini was pretty and her level was higher than Keen Shishi's, she dared to be so arrogant in front of other players, which made Marlixen and Li Qing unable to stand it anymore. The two immediately stood in front of Keen Shishi, looking like they were not to be trifled with, and also took out their own offensive props. Li Qing held a blast-proof glass cover, while Marlixen pulled out the vector submachine gun, an explosive prop even more powerful than the bomb ball. Before his birth, Marley loved playing PUBG. Unexpectedly, after experiencing a real-life PUBG instance in this world, he obtained his favorite item, the vector submachine gun. He loved the gun so much that he often took it out to play with it, never expecting that he would use it to deal with a shameless woman today. She was just trying to seduce him, but she didn't even know who he was. Marlixen, the gun god who bravely ventures into terrifying dungeons and loves nothing but guns. Of course, since the other party was a great beauty like Keen Shishi, he was still willing to play the hero and show off his amazing marksmanship. What are you guys doing? Are you serious? I was just joking with her, haha. Zhushini was somewhat overwhelmed by the fact that everyone on the other side was protecting Keen Shishi, and she was also unable to fight 3 people at once, so she immediately performed a Sichuan opera face-changing act. Then, she said impatiently to Keen Shishi, seriously, you can't even take a joke. No, "You're angry just because I didn't smile." Qin Shi didn't want to get entangled with such people, so she left with Ma Lixin and Li King after saying a few words. "Who's angry? You stop right there." Zhu Shini jumped up and down in a fit of rage. But all she heard in response was the sound of three people's incessant footsteps. There are only 3 classes in the morning and 2 classes in the afternoon. Since the third period wasn't Qin Shi's or Zhu Shini's class, and they didn't want to wait for Zhu Shini, they suggested going to the cafeteria to eat and discuss the clues. Fortunately, the cafeteria is open all day, and the food is normal and edible. The 3 of them then lined up to get their food. The window in this cafeteria is really amazing. There's a rectangular window at the bottom, and a frosted glass partition above it that completely covers the upper body of the cafeteria lady serving food. Qin Shi was the first in line to get her food. She had just called out affectionately, "Auntie, I want some." Before she could finish speaking, her attention was drawn to a young chef in the small shop window. The black shirt and uniform hung loosely on his body, the cuffs neatly rolled up, and a red woven bracelet adorned his fair wrist, giving off a relaxed yet ascetic feeling. It's like a clash between the workplace and a male-dominated society. Her slender fingers hold the chopping spoon with ease. The veins on the back of his hands were clearly visible, and his knuckles were slightly red. You could tell he was devastatingly handsome without even looking at his face. Wait a minute, that red woven bracelet, why does that hand and that aura look so familiar? Seeing that Qin Shi was silent, the person in the shop window spoke up. Her voice was so gentle and doting, it was almost like it could make someone's ears pregnant. She spoke in a volume that only Qin Shi could hear. "Baby, what do you want to eat? I made all your favorite foods." Qin Shi then realized that Jiang Yi had taken over as the cafeteria worker to improve her meals. To avoid delaying the people behind her from getting their food, Qin Shi simply ordered a few dishes at random, since they were all her favorites and she wasn't picky. Before Qin Shi left with the food, Jiang Yi said to her again with lingering affection, "See you later, baby." Qin Shi blushed slightly and quickly returned to the agreed-upon location. She never imagined she'd get to experience showing affection in a horror-themed school setting. Jiang Yi waited specifically for Qin Shi before opening this window, but that doesn't mean he'd serve food to others. As soon as Qin Shi left, he packed up all the dishes he had made. "Hey, why did you stop? I haven't even played yet." Li King, who was behind Qin Shi in line, anxiously called out to the person leaving through the shop window. "It's getting cold, the food's getting cold, go get it from another window," Jiang Yi replied abruptly, and then disappeared. Li King pursed her lips, muttering to herself, "What kind of person is this? I'd love to eat even if it's cold. Just by looking at the food at this window, it's so much more refined and delicious than the other windows." In the end, Ma Lixin and Li King had to switch to another window to get their food. That's weird. Before, when I watched this dungeon stream, the person serving the food was always an auntie. This time it's a man, and his voice is so nice. Wow, the person getting food inside must be a handsome guy. Those hands are simply masterpieces. A dream come true for hand fetishists. Yeah, that voice, those hands, it's really hard not to love them. I really want to see what he looks like. Stop swooning, upstairs. What if all that's good is the voice and the hands? It's just an NPC, don't take it seriously. I love watching, what's it to you? Just because I don't have the means doesn't mean I can't appreciate others. Humph, ideographic period _ omega. The comment section is going off topic again. By the time Ma Lixin and Li King returned, Qin Shi had almost finished eating. Damn it. Even though it was her boyfriend's sincere effort and wasting food is shameful, Jiang Yi really ate way too much. Qin Shi couldn't possibly finish it all. Seeing Li King staring longingly at her food, she said somewhat embarrassedly, "I took too much, I can't finish it." No sooner had Qin Shi finished speaking than Li King swiftly snatched her plate away. He said nonchalantly, if you can't finish it, don't waste it on me, I don't mind. Seeing how much he enjoyed his meal, Qin Shi Shi didn't say anything more. Li King ate while complaining, seriously, these NPCs treat people differently based on who they serve them. Just because I'm not a pretty girl, they won't serve me any food. The food is clearly hot, but they're using the excuse that it's too cold and the food is too cold to serve me any food. Qin Shi Shi felt embarrassed inside but remained calm on the surface. Actually, it's not because you're not beautiful. Haven't you thought about other possibilities? For example, I might be that NPC's girlfriend. Then Qin Shi Shi found her own thoughts laughable. Indeed, who could have imagined that? While watching Li King eat so deliciously, Ma Lixin couldn't help but reach out with his chopsticks, but Li King, who was protecting her food, blocked him. As the two were fiercely battling it out with their chopsticks in the air, Qin Shi Shi suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. Before she could even turn around, a powerful body pressed against her back, and she could feel a warm breath on her ear. Baby, how could you let another man eat the food I cooked for you? The man spoke his aggrieved words in a gentle voice. Although Qin Shi Shi couldn't see his expression, she instantly felt that she had done something heinous and deserved to die. Seeing that the two people opposite her were busy making small movements with their hands while eating and didn't pay any attention to her, Qin Shi Shi knew that Jiang Yi was communicating with her while invisible. How can she do this without hurting her boyfriend's fragile heart? She knows he's extremely jealous. Chapter 11. A jealous and angry boyfriend is harder to catch than a pig in the ear of the pig. Qin Shi Shi felt she was doomed. She should have stopped him from taking the food. Anyway, he wouldn't die from missing this meal, but giving up the meal her boyfriend made would have serious consequences. Qin Shi Shi was hesitating about how to explain to him when she saw that Jiang Yi had already begun his revenge because she hadn't replied for a long time. Jiang Yi's warm breath brushed against Qin Shi Shi's neck, from behind her ears to near her collarbone, making her face flush slightly. His strong arms also wrapped around her slender waist from behind. Qin Shi Shi blushed with embarrassment, but she couldn't show it. She was fidgeting and restless. If this continued, she would definitely lose her composure. In order to avoid being mistaken for a lunatic later, Qin Shi Shi had to stop Jiang Yi from being intimate in public, even though no one else could see his actions except her. Qin Shi Shi gritted her teeth and ruthlessly slapped Jiang Yi on the forehead, which was panting and making a mess. There was a loud cracking sound. The air suddenly became quiet, and Ma Lixin and Li King also ended their seemingly half-century-long battle for food. Seeing that the two had looked at her strangely, Qin Shi Shi immediately took remedial action. She patted the air haphazardly with both hands, then smiled awkwardly at them and said, "Did you see that mosquito flying around here just now?" "Mosquitoes? Where are the mosquitoes?" Li King scratched his head and looked around. "I never thought there would be mosquitoes in the horror world. Even though I've run through so many dungeons, this is the first time I've heard of them in a dungeon world." Ma Lixin asked curiously. "Really? I really did see it just now. Haha, you must not have seen it." Qin Shi Shi was so embarrassed that her toes went numb, and she wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into immediately. Not wanting to continue this topic, Qin Shi Shi quickly changed the subject, saying, "You guys eat quickly, and we can talk about the clues we've obtained after we finish eating." Ma Lixin and Li King stopped worrying about the mosquitoes and immediately started cooking seriously. So in this cruel world, only the mosquitoes get hurt. Seeing that she had gotten away with it, Qin Shi Shi nervously turned around and secretly glanced at Jiang Yi. "It would have been better if I hadn't looked, because I was shocked when I did." Jiang Yi's eyes were full of grievance, and his eyes were red, as if he would burst into tears at any moment. He covered his forehead, which had been slapped red by Qin Shi Shi, and sat quietly on a dining chair not far from Qin Shi Shi, his whole body swaying precariously. He looked like a well-behaved young man who had been badly bullied, now feeling heartbroken. Qin Shi Shi's heart skipped a beat, realizing that this time it was really over. Over the next 2 hours, Qin Shishi analyzed the clues she had obtained with the two of them and told them how to get information out of the students. During those 2 hours, she went from feeling restless to feeling extremely uncomfortable. Time seemed to have never passed so slowly. Soon it was afternoon, and Li Qing had 2 consecutive physical education classes. Qin Shishi, Zhu Shini, and Ma Lixin had no classes in the afternoon, so they decided to look for other clues. Zhu Shini may have realized her mistake. After finishing her 3rd class in the morning, she found the 3 people in the cafeteria, sincerely apologized, and then integrated back into the group. There's no other way to get clues and escape the terrifying instance alive. Teamwork is the best option, and going it alone is definitely not going to work. So the 3 of them decided to split into 2 groups and take advantage of the fact that it was still dark and the students were still in class. Qin Shishi and Zhu Shini went to check the girls' dormitory of Class 7, Grade 11, while Ma Lixin went to the boys' dormitory of Class 7, Grade 11 to look for clues. Qin Shishi and Zhu Shini walked side by side, while Jiang Yi, in stealth mode, followed behind Qin Shishi at a distance of no more than half. So the 3 of them decided to split into 2 groups and take advantage of the fact that it was still dark and the students were still in class. Qin Shishi and Zhu Shini went to check the girls' dormitory of Class 7, Grade 11, while Ma Lixin went to the boys' dormitory of Class 7, Grade 11 to look for clues. Qin Shishi and Zhu Shini walked side by side, while Jiang Yi, in stealth mode, followed behind Qin Shishi at a distance of no more than half an arm's length. See, even when a boyfriend is angry with his girlfriend, he can't bear to be too far away from her. While sharing the clues she had discussed with Ma Lixin with Zhu Shini, Qin Shishi tried to reach back and pull her angry boyfriend back, hoping to beg for forgiveness. However, she tried several times but was sullenly avoided by Jiang Yi. It seems her boyfriend's anger hasn't subsided yet. Qin Shishi silently lit an incense stick for herself, wishing herself a pleasant night. Jiang Yi felt wronged and angry. His dear wife and female friend had given up the lunch he had painstakingly prepared all morning, and then she publicly accused him of swatting a mosquito. She felt he was being annoying, and he felt both sad and frustrated. But he couldn't bear to really distance himself from her out of spite, so he kept his distance, staying within her reach, deliberately avoiding her attempts to make peace. Even though his girlfriend repeatedly reached out to hold his hand and try to make up with him, he always dodged her. Although he really wanted to be led by the baby, he couldn't lose face as a boyfriend, so he looked a little angry. A man who can be easily appeased is not a good man. Once a woman gets him, she won't cherish him. Jiang Yi pursed his thin lips, his handsome, aloof face still bearing a slightly aggrieved expression, yet he followed Qin Shishi at a leisurely pace. Jiang Yi thought to himself, "Humph, woman, don't think that just because you reached out to hold my hand 56 times, I'll agree to make up with you. No way." As Qin Shishi was about to arrive at the girls' dormitory, after her 98th attempt to hold her boyfriend's hand was thwarted each time, she couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, a jealous and angry boyfriend is harder to catch than a pig in the ear of the pig. So Qin Shishi decided to go back tonight and apologize to her boyfriend and comfort him properly, and take care of business first. Although Jiang Yi's body was awkward and he refused to give in, he kept counting the number of times his girlfriend tried to hold his hand, feeling frustrated and uncomfortable. "Jiang Yi, the 98th time, why did you stop? You haven't held my hand for half a day." To explain, the half a day here is Jiang Yi's perception. In fact, only 1 minute and 36 seconds have passed. No, this number doesn't sound good. Thinking this, Jiang Yi took the initiative to reach out and hold Qin Shishi's hand. Jiang Yi, very good. The number 99 is auspicious, symbolizing longevity. Hollow down pointing triangle, ~*. The author pays tribute, ~, salute. Jiang Yi, the epitome of a love-struck genius, is undoubtedly here. Bring it on. Qin Shishi felt a warm glow in her heart as she felt that large, warm hand with distinct knuckles that no one else could see. Goodness, I'm finally not angry with her anymore. Since he clenched her large hand and intertwined his fingers with hers, Qin Shishi began to relax and separated from Zhu Shini to look for useful clues in the girls' dormitory. Jiang Yi held his handsome face upturned, arrogantly refusing to look at Qin Shishi, letting her lead him by the hand. Although he would steal a glance from time to time, he couldn't let her know. After Qin Shishi and Zhu Shini each eliminated two 4-person dorm rooms in the girls' dormitory of Class 7, Grade 11, only one room remained. Upon entering, I found that the bed near the toilet was dark and damp, messy, with piles of garbage and several clumps of bloody hair that had been pulled out. The bedding also smelled musty. Intuition told them that this bed might be the place that would lead them to the clues. Sure enough, the name of the person who owned the bed was vaguely written as Meena, but it had been crossed out with a black pen and there were also traces of being slashed with a blade. It now appears that bullying is indeed a reality. Qin Shishi deduced that the mission was to find Meena's shoes, which meant that finding the truth about Meena's bullying was the key to discovering where her shoes were. Qin Shishi's gaze was drawn to a corner of the messy things on the bed. She reached out to grab it, but Jiang Yi stopped her in midair. Jiang Yi still looked angry. Qin Shishi was about to think that he was still angry, but then she saw him sigh and look helpless again. Jiang Yi snapped his fingers, and apart from Qin Shishi, he pointed to her pocket. Qin Shishi reached into her pocket and pulled out a rubber isolation glove. Wow, I want a dozen boyfriends like that. I love them. Chapter 12. They're such great teammates in the horror world. So considerate. Zhu Shini, standing to the side, looked at Qin Shishi with disbelief and exclaimed in admiration, "You're really well equipped." Qin Shishi said calmly, "I just thought it would be useful, so I brought it along." Zhu Shini looked at her with a slightly appreciative gaze and watched her continue operating, saying, "Actually, I quite admire you. I also watched the live stream of that calm divorce instance, and it was a lot of discussion at the time." Qin Shishi was surprised to hear Zhu Shini praise her, but she didn't say anything and continued to look for clues. Instead, Zhu Shini started talking to herself. Zhu Shini said, "I was terrified when I first came into this world. Because I was protected by a man, I became dependent on him. But you are not like that. You are really good at adapting to this terrifying world. I am a little curious about what kind of person you were in your previous life." Qin Shishi stopped what she was doing because of her words and said, "I think you are quite tenacious. It is not easy to have survived in this terrifying world until now. Your abilities should be enough to allow you to be independent of others, so why demean yourself?" Zhu Shini was slightly taken aback. She frowned slightly, pursed her lips, and said to Qin Shishi, "What do you want to say?" Qin Shishi shook her head and said helplessly, "You seem to really want to be a bad woman." Upon hearing this, Zhu Shini raised her eyebrows, raised her voice, and said in an annoying tone, "I'm happy to do it, what's it to you?" After she finished speaking, she turned around angrily to look for clues. Qin Shishi was speechless. "I didn't mean to interfere with you either." The two then continued their individual searches for clues. Why do these two always cause trouble after just a few words together? The two of them seem to have a bit of a mismatch in their personalities. My dear Shini, why are you so easily provoked by her? Although she is a great beauty, my Shini is just as stunning. Stop making noise upstairs, hurry up and help them find some clues. Hopefully, they can get through this dungeon smoothly. After careful investigation, Qin Shishi finally found a seemingly useful clue in that corner. A round earthenware jar wrapped in a plastic bag. It's a bit heavy. I wonder what's inside. The school bell rang, signaling the end of the first period in the afternoon. They still had one more period to look for clues. Unsure whether the students would return to their dormitories without eating, Qin Shishi and Zhu Shini sped up their search. While searching for the bedding of the other three students, Qin Shishi discovered that the bed next to Meena's belonged to Zhu Liwan, the class monitor of Class 7, Grade 11. Zhu Xini discovered that the class monitor had several thousand yuan tucked inside one of his books, and that the money had been covered with obscene and vicious words such as trash and bitch written on it. Continuing to search through her belongings, they found a pair of scissors hidden under the mattress, with mortal bloodstains on the tips of the blades. Even more outrageous, a suicide note was found inside the pillowcase. Qin Shishi and Zhu Xini were both shocked when they saw the suicide note. The suicide note contained the following: I'm in so much pain. Why is it so hard to strive for improvement when I've already tried so hard? It only took me a year to go from being unyielding to submitting to you. To be precise, you tormented me for a year. Why, even after all this, do you still not let me go? What did I do wrong? Why are you treating me like this? I haven't offended you at all. I'll be leaving soon, you'll be happy, right, you abusers? I'll be waiting for you to come down and keep me company. After reading the contents, Qin Shishi had already guessed the general situation. Qin Shishi, this was written by Meena, and they call her the girl in the red shoes. This poor girl lost her name after arriving at this ridiculous, moral high school, and no one remembered her name until her death. Zhu Xini sighed and put everything she found at Zhu Liwan's place back exactly as it was. Why do they do this? Because the experience of those who failed before them taught them that if they found something was missing, they would transform into monsters and attack everywhere. By the way, what's in that pottery jar? Let's check it quickly and put it back, Zhu Xini said nervously, staring at the pottery jar that Qin Shishi had placed aside. Qin Shishi also opened it, but a stench hit her so badly that Zhu Xini jumped back several meters. In contrast, Qin Shishi seemed to have lost her sense of smell and showed no reaction next to the pottery jar. No way, you're that strong. You can even endure this, Zhu Xini said to Qin Shishi in surprise. Oh my god, what is this? And that suicide note, these are the two things that the previous losing players didn't find. Wow, this Shishi beauty is amazing. You can tell what the smell is like after the pottery jar is opened just by looking at the streamer's reaction. Shishi beauty didn't even react. A major clue, waiting for the beauty to solve the case. Actually, it wasn't that Qin Shishi didn't react. She glanced up and inadvertently at Jing Gi, who looked arrogant, and knew that her thoughtful boyfriend had once again put on olfactory protection for her, making her unable to smell anything. She looked into the jar, and her pupils dilated instantly. Her hands trembled slightly. Fortunately, the jar had been on the ground and she hadn't picked it up to open it, otherwise it would definitely have shattered. Seeing Qin Shishi's intense reaction from a distance, Zhu Xini couldn't resist her curiosity and came over to take a look. Zhu Xini reacted even more strongly than Qin Shishi after watching it, and ran straight to the toilet to vomit. Oh my god, this is terrifying. I want to go home and find my mom and dad. Wake up, you upstairs. You can't go back to your mom and dad now. You damn creature, how could you be so cruel? I just glanced over here and threw up just like Sister Zhu. Shishi is amazing, she can hold it in even when she's so close. Just then, the bell rang to signal the end of the last class in the afternoon. Qin Shishi realized what was happening, quickly put the lid back on the pottery jar, wrapped it up, and put it back in its original position. Fortunately, the room is big, and Meena's bed smells bad, so the students shouldn't notice anything wrong when they come back. After they had finished packing, Qin Shishi and Zhu Xini hurried to the cafeteria to meet up with Ma Lixin and the others. When the four met, apart from Li Qing, who had attended 2 consecutive physical education classes, the other 3 all had solemn expressions on their faces. Li Qing was completely baffled and asked in a bewildered manner, "What's wrong with you guys? It's only the first day. Why are you all acting like this? You are making me panic." Qin Shishi started by discussing the clues, but she wanted to say that she had looked at Li Qing somewhat strangely before. Although some people in Li Qing's live stream already knew, Li Qing refrained from watching the live stream in order to hear the clues with his own ears. Li King didn't understand why he was being looked at like that, so he asked stupidly, "Tell me quickly what clues you found today. I've been holding back all afternoon just to hear you tell me yourself." Seeing Li King's excitement, Qin Shi still didn't want to harm him, so she reminded him, "Why don't you eat first? We'll talk to you after you finish eating." Li King looked at the other three with a suspicious expression and asked, "Aren't you going to eat?" All three shook their heads, indicating they couldn't eat. Seeing that Ma Lixin also couldn't eat, Qin Shi couldn't help but wonder if he had seen the live broadcast or if he had also discovered something unpalatable. The three exchanged glances, expressing their sympathy for Li King, and told him to eat first and they would talk about it later. They're such great teammates in this horror world. So considerate. Chapter 13, A thing that wears human skin but does no human deeds. Li King has a large appetite. Even after finishing the food he ate in the food Qin Shi brought him at noon, he was still hungry. After attending 2 more physically demanding physical education classes, he was indeed very hungry again. Seeing that the three of them agreed that he should eat first, Li King stopped dawdling and immediately got his food and started eating in order to get clues. In less than 20 minutes, he finished a meal for at least 3 people. Seeing that he had finished eating, Qin Shi and the other two began to discuss the clues they had found. Qin Shi, class monitor Zhu Liwan and others bullied Mina, piled garbage on her bed, and physically tortured her. She also had a child, which we found in the pottery jar. Zhu Xini, they hurt her with scissors and other sharp objects. There were many bloody hairs lying on the bed, and insults were written all over the money papers. There was also a suicide note from Mina accusing them hidden in Zhu Liwan's pillowcase. Ma Lixin, the miscarried child should be Song Ji's. I found a lot of nude photos of Mina and photos of them abusing her at his place. He even put them in a collection in the most obvious place, which means he looked at them often. ... After hearing their more detailed description, Li King still couldn't hold back and ran away to vomit up the food she had just eaten that hadn't been fully digested, only stopping when her stomach was empty. Everyone, it seems that letting him eat first was a mistake. Eating it is the same as not eating at all, it's like he ate for nothing. Indeed, the evil in human nature can sometimes be amplified infinitely under certain conditions of tolerance. There is nothing that evil people are incapable of doing. Instead of redeeming innocent victims, they redeem evil people who only cause harm, believing that they will turn to good and thus demonstrate that humanity can be changed. But what we often see are villains who, after being redeemed, use their sanctimonious facade to harm the next person. So who will be the next innocent victim? Backquote. Ellipsis. The first night has arrived. Qin Shi knew about school bullying. These words seemed simple and easy to understand, but they were actually suffocating. If you really put yourself in their shoes, probably no one could escape it. Recalling the storyline of today's instance, she nestled in Jiang Yi's arms and asked him in a muffled voice, "Jiang Yi, did this instance appear because the events that occurred in this instance actually happened in the real world?" Jiang Yi understood Qin Shi's feelings at that moment. Feeling her body trembling slightly, he hugged her tighter and said softly, "Yes." As if she already knew the answer, Qin Shi asked with some sadness, "Then how is that girl now? Is she alright after coming into this world?" Jiang Yi hesitated whether to tell her or not. Anyway, she would find out the truth sooner or later, so wouldn't it be better to know sooner to put her at ease? Qin Shi hoped that the girl would have a good ending in this seemingly terrifying world. After all, she was suffering so much in that seemingly beautiful world. "Tell me, I want to know how she is doing now. Even though I feel incredibly sorry for her, I'm not her, but I still have a glimmer of hope that she's doing well now." Jiang Yi didn't say anything, but helped her sit up, picked her up by the waist, and disappeared from the spot in a flash. Jiang Yi carried her to the girls' dormitory that had been searched during the day, where sobs could be heard continuously. "Do you want to go in and take a look?" Jiang Yi first asked for her opinion. Qin Shishi hesitated for a moment, then nodded to Jiang Yi as if she had finally made up her mind. Jiang Yi carried Qin Shishi through the wall, and apart from Mina, nothing noticed their arrival. A girl wearing the uniform of Maid High School, with short student-style hair, was wearing only one red shoe. She was covered in blood, and blood was still flowing from under her school skirt. She must be Mina, the poor girl. Mina was astonished to see the two people who had walked through the wall. Mina thought expressionlessly, why did the big boss Jiang Yi come down to her instance? Did he come to inspect whether she was working diligently? And why did he bring a woman with him? Oh my God, this is huge news. She'll definitely gossip about it with her ghostly colleague after get off work. Jiang Yi gestured for her to continue, and Mina nodded under immense pressure, continuing to work as if Jiang Yi and Qin Shishi didn't exist. Mina picked up the scissors she had found during the day and stabbed Zhu Liwan repeatedly in the back of the head. Zhu Liwan pleaded incessantly, but was not spared. She seemed to have had enough of the frustration, or perhaps she had just thought of something, and turned around to rummage through the pile of trash on her bed. Then, looking excited, he went up to Zhu Liwan, put down the scissors, and showed her what he had found. After feeding Zhu Liwan, Mina lay on her stomach with an expectant look on her face, her voice trembling with excitement. Squad leader, weren't you jealous that I was pregnant with Song Ji's child? Now she's in your belly, aren't you happy? With blood on her lips and fear filling her eyes, Zhu Liwan reached out to grab Mina, sobbing, I was wrong, please, let me go. Mina kicked her hand away in disgust, as if something dirty had just touched her. Hearing her beg for mercy again, Mina seemed intrigued. She asked her in a sinister tone, you are begging me. Then why don't you call me by my name? You call me by my name. You don't know my name, do you? Zhu Liwan choked up when asked the question, but she still clung to Mina's leg and begged for mercy, never once calling her name. Mina seemed to be getting impatient with the noise and directed her two other roommates, who were huddled to the side with bloody holes all over their bodies, to hold Zhu Liwan down by her limbs. She suddenly changed her tone, and said happily in a sweet and innocent voice, Class monitor, let's play your favorite game. Although you've only played it once, I can play it many times. After saying that, Mina looked completely innocent and picked up the scissors next to her. Zhu Liwan looked terrified and shook her head repeatedly in fear. Qin Shishi couldn't bear to look anymore and buried her face in Jiang Yi's arms. Shall we go? Jiang Yi asked her. After a while, Qin Shishi recovered and forced herself to say, despite her discomfort, it's okay, I can manage. Mina, holding a newborn baby, rushed to Zhu Liwan with a happy expression. Squad leader, look, he's your child now. I've delivered him for you. Look at how much he looks like your beloved Song Ji. After saying that, she ignored Zhu Liwan's pleas for mercy, and gently rocked the child while holding her voice both sad and sickly. Squad leader, are you happy that we are playing this game you loved most every day now? Ha ha ha. After a hearty laugh, Mina suddenly stopped. Looking at Zhu Liwan, she murmured, it's time. I should take you to see them. After putting the child back where she was, Mina grabbed Zhu Liwan by the hair and dragged her all the way to the boys' dormitory. Zhu Liwan's injuries will heal automatically once the injury stops. Now let's play your second favorite game. After saying that, Mina threw Zhu Liwan into the crowd. They were a pack of men as fierce as wolves and tigers. Outside the group of boys, there stood a lone figure, Song Ji, who was trembling as he held the photo album that Ma Lixin had seen during the day. Mina moved a chair from somewhere and sat back in it with a relaxed expression. Her leg, which was wearing a red shoe, was draped over her bare leg and swayed leisurely, as if a mist of blood was emanating from the red shoe. You, go and guide her to carefully complete each step according to the postures and movements shown above. She can't make a single mistake. Mina gave Song Ji a look of disgust as she instructed him to do his work, as if everything was so wonderful, and she hummed a little tune. Songji, who was giving instructions from the side, was shaking so badly that he quickly gave incorrect instructions in a panic. A sharp claw suddenly struck, tearing Songji's heart out from behind. Meena looked at it and said, "I thought it would be black." "No point, here you go." After saying that, she swallowed her anger again and took out the scissors. Songji knelt on the ground in terror and begged for mercy. "I'm sorry, I was wrong, but if you hadn't refused to give me those red shoes, I wouldn't have hurt you." "No, I didn't hurt you, it was all Zulivan's fault, please let me go." Upon hearing this, Meena felt her anger about to burst out of her chest. Even facing death, they still don't know how to repent. Scumbags should never be redeemed. After the incident, Meena danced barefoot on the spot. She was bleeding, but the moment she stood on tiptoe and spun around with the foot in the red shoe, the bleeding seemed to stop. Although she had expected it, Qin Shi still touched her already sore eyes and said to Jiangyi, "Let's go." After Qin Shi and the others left, Meena started slacking off. Even though her boss wasn't around, she wasn't allowed to slack off. Although she was slacking off, she still dutifully addressed those scumbags. "Anyone who dares to stop, looks like they're itching for a beating. I still need a few dumpling wrappers to finish my filling. You are all just putting on a show." After saying that, she crossed her legs and sat down in the chair, casually taking out her ghost phone from the horror world and quickly tapping it. Chapter 14, The Unsung Heroes of PDA. Qin Shi, who was carried back to the teacher's dormitory by Jiangyi, tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Seeing that she wanted to ask but didn't dare, Jiangyi kindly asked for her, "Baby, do you want to ask if they still have a chance to start over?" Qin Shi asked in surprise, "How did you know?" "Don't I know you? You have a sharp tongue but a soft heart. You see you don't care, but you're still thinking about them." Jiangyi replied affectionately. "Can they leave here too, and start over like you?" Qin Shi asked the question that had been on her mind all along. "Jiangyi, perhaps, after all, I'm not the one who ultimately decides whether they stay or leave. Will the Overlord really let you go? And will those who successfully reached level 100 in the dungeon also be able to return?" Qin Shi still couldn't quite believe it. In fact, the Overlord is just like the King of Hell in our real world. Have you noticed that these terrifying dungeons are actually set up like trials in hell? By passing the trials, you can be reborn and have the opportunity to start over. Jiangyi slowly helped Qin Shi clear up the fog of confusion. Qin Shi's eyes lit up, as if she had suddenly realized something, and she said happily to Jiangyi, "I understand, baby." Jiangyi smoothed down Qin Shi's upturned hair and said gently and patiently, "They will leave here and start over at the right time, just like me." The second day of the horror dungeon, Midkaku High School, has begun. In her second English class, Qin Shi did not ask the class monitor, Zulivan, to call her name again. Zulivan had no recollection of what happened that night and listened to the lesson with the demeanor of a good student. But even with her back to these devilish students, Qin Shi couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. She didn't really want to ask these students questions, fearing that she might lose control and pull out an offensive weapon to kill these beasts. When another student tried to test her, Qin Shi tragically realized that she didn't have any offensive items at all, only defensive ones. Seriously, they dragged her in to help her boyfriend work for him, and this Overlord doesn't even give her any decent equipment. Qin Shi pursed her lips, turned around, and looked seriously at the classmate who had just been disrupting the class and testing her. That classmate was pale and gloomy, with bluish lips and an arrogant expression that really gave Qin Shi a headache. "These brats will probably get a beating tonight, Meena." Thinking of Meena from last night, Qin Shi felt a pang of sadness and heartache. At such a young age, when everything should be blossoming. As the class monitor, Zulivan also followed Qin Shi's scrutinizing gaze and looked over. Perhaps stunned by Zhu Liwan's fierce gaze as she turned around, the classmate fell silent. Zhu Liwan turned around, her expression no longer the same as before. Her dark lips curled up playfully as she said, "Teacher, let's continue the lesson. I really enjoy listening to your lectures." Although Qin Shishi learned of the evil deeds Zhu Liwan had committed, she couldn't do anything to her now and had to continue attending classes as if nothing had happened. The truth buried in the fog will one day be revealed. As the class was drawing to a close, Qin Shishi asked Zhu Liwan, "Class monitor, have the students who were absent last time returned?" Zhu Liwan said with a serious expression, "Teacher, the student wearing red shoes is sick and resting in the dormitory and can't come." Qin Shishi raised an eyebrow, not exposing her. "Then I'll go to her dorm to check on her." Hearing that she wanted to visit Meena, Zhu Liwan panicked a little. "Teacher, is that not necessary? She said she doesn't want to spread her illness to everyone." Before Qin Shishi could say anything more, Songji spoke up for her, saying, "Teacher, you said last time you wanted to have dinner with me, was that true? You weren't just lying to your students, were you?" Knowing that he was changing the subject to help Zhu Liwan, Qin Shishi wasn't in a hurry, because her original goal for today was Songji. She sincerely invited, "Songji, your teacher wouldn't lie to you. After chemistry class this afternoon, I'll wait for you in my office so we can go out for lunch together." Because Qin Shishi accepted the invitation, Songji smirked, thinking he looked very handsome, which made Qin Shishi really want to punch him. When Qin Shishi left after class, she naturally didn't miss the wonderful expression on the class monitor's face, or her pen that had broken in two. Back in the office, there were still 15 minutes before the third class started. Qin Shishi shared her discoveries of the day and her plans. "What you said is very likely. I saw on the schedule that there was a chemistry class this afternoon, taught by an NPC from the game. Perhaps we can look for clues after they leave." Ma Lixin stroked his chin and analyzed. "It's highly likely. I think it's exactly what Shishi guessed, 100%. The students' black lips are obviously poisoned, and we might find clues in the chemistry lab now." "Yes," Qin Shishi speculated. "According to the information on the student list, Meena was a special student admitted due to poverty, because she was admitted because of her excellent academic performance. The school gives her a bonus every month as a reward for ranking first in the entire school. The bonuses are all in cash and distributed by the homeroom teacher. The students at this school are usually sent there by wealthy parents, and they pay for everything by credit card. The only explanation for the money Zhu Liwan hid in the book is that she robbed Meena of it. According to the clues we have so far, Meena was bullied by her classmate in class 7 of the second year of high school, and then used materials from the chemistry lab to make poison that killed them. According to Meena's suicide note, she had already poisoned the victim and didn't want to live anymore. So where did Meena go after she poisoned him? The fact that Zhu Liwan was able to hide Meena's suicide note suggests that Meena may have died before these bullies. Qin Shishi didn't tell them what she saw of Meena last night. Meena was only wearing one red shoe, which means that she was wearing only one shoe when she died, and perhaps only those students knew about the other shoe. Qin Shishi discussed splitting up with them into two groups. Qin Shishi finds an opportunity to have Songji take her to the places he took Meena to before he died, and Ma Lixin secretly protects her. Zhu Xinyi and Li Qing followed the students to the chemistry lab to look for clues about the poisoning. The third period was biology class, not their class, so they all decided to go to the cafeteria for lunch first. After all, they hadn't eaten yesterday, and one of them even threw up after eating. Li Qing was already starving and rushed to the front of the line to get food. Fortunately, Jing Gi also brought him and the other players food this time. "Jing Gi, you guys better have something to eat, then don't steal my wife's food, HMPH. Filled down pointing triangle he hash." Qin Shishi and Zhu Xinyi sat in the same row for their meal. Jing Gi sat discreetly next to Qin Shishi in an empty spot, propping his head up with one hand and watching her eat. If Qin Shishi hadn't gotten used to this guy staring at her like that after eating in the real world, she really would have blushed. In front of these unseen people, Jiang Yi was truly unrestrained and showed no embarrassment whatsoever. Qin Shishi glared at him when no one was looking. Jiang Yi didn't mind, and gave her a flirtatious wink with fiery passion, then blew her a kiss with a pout. Qin Shishi simply couldn't bear to look. Jiang Yi, my wife just looked at me, and I knew she couldn't help but think about me. That one glance was full of love. She must have really enjoyed the meal I prepared this morning. She was very touched, but she couldn't find a chance to be alone with me, so she wanted to reward me. I'm sure I'll be very happy tonight. Zoo 3, Zoo Heart Tilde. Qin Shishi was unaware of Jiang Yi's rich inner monologue. All she knew was that her clingy boyfriend really didn't know how to tone it down. Qin Shishi's face, which was not originally red, turned red with embarrassment. Unable to ignore the heat on her face, she buried her head in her rice and started eating. Perhaps she was eating too fast and choked on her rice. After coughing violently and expelling the rice grains that had accidentally entered her bronchi, she moistened her throat with the water she had bought from her bracelet. Jiang Yi gently patted her back with a worried expression, trying to make Qin Shishi more comfortable. The other three players were completely unaware that they had been bombarded with displays of affection without their knowledge. Are you all right? Why did you choke on your food all of a sudden? Zhu Xinyi asked worriedly, stopping her eating. Ma Lixin and Li Qing also stopped what they were doing and asked her with concern. Qin Shishi looked embarrassed, her face flushed, whether from choking or something else. She quickly explained, I ate too fast just now, it was an accident, it's okay, you guys continue eating. Seeing that she was alright, everyone resumed their enjoyment of being a couple. How can the delicious meal that everyone got to enjoy be considered part of Qin Shishi and Jiang Yi's unseen display of affection? Chapter 15 S-Rank Dungeon, the first group of employees gossiping. The afternoon flew by, and Qin Shishi waited in her office for Songji to come find her. 5 minutes after the bell rang to signal the end of get out of class, increasingly loud footsteps could be heard outside the office. Qin Shishi gave Ma Lixin and the others a wink. Ma Lixin immediately understood and used an invisibility item to become invisible. Zhu Xinyi and Li Qing followed the students to find out the location of the chemistry lab in the afternoon, and now that they're out of class, they can go look for clues. As Songji casually entered, he brushed past Zhu Xinyi and Li Qing. Teacher, after we finish eating, I'll take you back to your dorm. As he said this, Songji couldn't hide the mischievous smile on his face. Okay, thank you in advance, Songji. Qin Shishi naturally didn't believe that he would kindly offer to take her home. After they finished speaking, the two went to the cafeteria. Jiang Yi clung to Qin Shishi's arm the whole way, watching Songji, who was walking on the other side of his wife, occasionally leering at her with a lewd look. His eyes were icy cold, as if he wanted to kill her. Although Songji, the NPC, seemed extremely cold, he didn't care at all, it was just his imagination. Ma Lixin followed discreetly from a distance. The mini-boss of this horror dungeon is Mina, who hasn't shown up yet. Songji and the others are all supporting NPCs and don't know that Qin Shishi is the big boss's woman. These supporting NPCs simply repeat what they did in their previous lives. They have no self-awareness in this world and will only act as they did in their previous lives. Unless players break the rules and turn them into monsters, they will still feel like people in the real world. However, minor bosses like Mina and Wang Wan from the previous instance are conscious. Even as ghost NPCs, they have independent thoughts, know that they have a boss, Jiang Yi, and know that they cannot offend their boss's woman. See, even in a world of horror, you still have to learn how to navigate social interactions. The premise is that Mina only works at night. After catching up on her beauty sleep during the day, she enjoys playing with the goblin phone. The top-ranked employee gossip group. Meena, I bet the woman boss Jiang was hugging last night was his wife. He spoils her rotten. He carried her like a princess the whole time. Asterisk. Wang Wan, you're still too young, you little rascal. You bombarded me with messages in the middle of the night last night. I didn't sleep well at all. Let me tell you, there aren't many good men out there. Meena, I don't care, Boss Jiang is so handsome. I'm going to fight for him and his woman. Bai Jiu, Meena, Boss Jiang's woman is a player. What if she comes to my instance and I don't recognize her and tear her to pieces? Su Ningbo, love Bai, if you dare to tear Jiang boss's woman to shreds, Jiang boss will definitely tear you to shreds in revenge. Bai Jiu, I'm doomed. I have face blindness, but if I can't recognize them, wah, I don't want to be torn to pieces. D. Tao Xiao Xiao, Sister Meena, how can I recognize Jiang boss's woman? Meena, little one, I am not exaggerating, but Boss Jiang's woman is absolutely gorgeous. She's the prettiest I've seen in this dungeon so far. Make sure you spot the prettiest lady so you don't scare her. Bai Jiu, Meena, give me some advice. I have face blindness, what am I supposed to do? Su Ningbo, love Bai, you should just keep a low profile and play the role of a ghost NPC for now. If the voice sounds like a woman, don't tear her apart. Bai Jiu, what if, even if I don't tear her apart, the boss's woman is eliminated after 7 days of mission failure in my instance? Boss Jiang will still tear me to pieces, right? Meena. Su Ningbo, old Bai, don't scare me. If you say that, I'd have to go easy on everyone and let them all clear the game. Wang Wan, alright, I'll tell you. I know Boss Jiang's woman. Her first dungeon quest was with me. Her name is Qin Shishi, and she's very smart. Don't worry unnecessarily, just keep everything normal. Ellipsis, 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 ellipsis. After Qin Shishi finished eating, Songji took her to the school playground under the pretext of taking a walk to digest her food. At this point, there were practically no people left on the playground. Qin Shishi noticed that Songji kept staring at her feet, so she asked, Songji, did I just step on something? No, I just think the teacher's ankles are slender, and she would look really good in red high heels, Songji complimented. Qin Shishi felt a chill run down her spine upon hearing his words, but she suppressed it and asked in return, Song, do you really like wearing red shoes? Songji's expression was a little strange, but he forced a smile and said, I love them. No one in the whole school can wear red shoes without my permission. Nobody else can, and I have a lot of red shoes in my collection. Teacher, would you like to come to my house to see them? Qin Shishi sensed a morbid feeling in his words. Fighting back goosebumps, she pressed on, isn't there another classmate in our class who wears red shoes? Doesn't she also wear red shoes? Seemingly not expecting Qin Shishi to ask such a question, Songji's face showed a mixture of infatuation and malice, as if she had just realized something. He quickly said in a cold tone, I allowed her to wear it. Taking advantage of his relaxed guard, Qin Shishi began to try to get information out of him again. Songji, what's your favorite place on campus? You can take me there sometime. Qin Shishi mentioned it to Songji as if it were unintentional. Songji looked towards the woods. Teacher Qin, you haven't been to the woods behind the playground, have you? The scenery there is beautiful. I'll take you there now. Okay, Qin Shishi followed him, agreeing with his suggestion. Songji led Qin Shishi to a seemingly nice but actually eerie place in the woods. The surrounding trees are lush and leafy, their dark leaves blocking out the last rays of the setting sun, and the further you go in, the more gloomy and cold it feels. Songji chatted with Qin Shishi along the way, then slowed down his pace. Upon arriving at a small pond, Songji pointed to the water and said, Teacher Qin, isn't this place beautiful? Qin Shishi didn't reply. Songji went around behind her and picked up a palm-sized stone from the ground. Then he raised the stone and was about to swing it at the back of Qin Shishi's head. With a loud thud, Song Ji fell to the ground, the stone in his hand rolling away, while Qin Shi Shi calmly turned around. The sleeping gas effect only lasts for an hour. Let's start looking, Ma Lixin said to Qin Shi Shi. Qin Shi Shi nodded and parted ways with Ma Lixin to search the surrounding area. Jing Yi, while invisible, kicked Song Ji, who had fallen to the ground, repeatedly. Half an hour later, Qin Shi Shi found their target under a tree 50 meters west of where Song Ji had fallen. It was already dark. In the silent woods where no moonlight fell, Mina's body hung bloodily from a tree branch. Her black hair hung down in a mess, obscuring her face, and her clothes were wrinkled and stained with blood. It seems he suffered a terrible ordeal before his death. The rope used for hanging was white and thin, yet so strong that it could support the frail body of the tragic girl. She was only wearing one shoe without laces, and it looked like it was about to slip off. It's likely she hanged herself with the shoelaces of those red shoes. Qin Shi Shi covered her mouth, her face pale, and asked Jing Yi in a trembling voice, "She must have suffered a lot when she was alive." Jing Yi covered her eyes, trying to stop her from looking, but she reached out and took the covers off. "Jing Yi, she will no longer suffer in this world." Qin Shi Shi squeezed Jing Yi's large hand, wanting to feel the warmth of his palm, and slowly said, "Let's go invisible, I'll go call Ma Lixin over." After a while, Ma Lixin also saw this horrifying scene, which made him shudder. Ma Lixin's live broadcast room. "My God, we've already broken through to this point in the dungeon on the second day. You're so cold-hearted upstairs. This NPC was so pitiful in life. I'm cold and heartless, while you're sentimental and affectionate. Then you can stay in this world. I care about the game's progress. I just want to go home as soon as possible. What's wrong with you, starting to attack others? Have you got nothing better to do?" "I'm sorry, I was probably emotionally affected by the scene and the people in it. I apologize." "Sigh, how pitiful. And stop arguing upstairs. This dungeon has always been getting a lot of attention. This is the first time we've ever seen a mini-boss like this." Yeah. Before, players who disobeyed and ran out after 9 PM were all killed instantly by the mini-boss. I didn't expect her to be so miserable during the day, stuck here the whole time. If Mina knew that players were commenting on her like this, she'd probably laugh herself to death. "I was just hanging there to sleep and rest, what are you thinking? I'm perfectly comfortable." Wow, this is the first time I've ever seen a mini-boss NPC like this. It looks like we'll be clearing this dungeon soon. No other player has ever found a mini-boss during the day. Yeah, all those players before us failed the mission without finding the clue to the mini-boss's red shoes. Turns out they were hidden there. Beautiful Qin, you've already broken through the clue so quickly, amazing. Mina, you wish. I've been working overtime and night shifts, and you want me to work during the day too. Don't bother me during the day, or I'll beat you up. But he still managed to suppress the urge to tremble and said to Qin Shi Shi, "We should go. Song Ji should be waking up soon, and it will be 9 o'clock in a little while. We need to hurry back." Qin Shi Shi nodded and quickly left the scene with Ma Lixin. After they left, the girl hanging from the tree raised her hand and brushed aside her tangled black hair. With a helpless expression, she took out her phone and started typing furiously in the chat interface. Chapter 16 Brother, I advise you not to take a bath. S-Copy Employees First Gossip Group. Mina, just now, Boss Chiang's woman saw how I died. She seemed frightened and a little sad. Note, the appearance of ghost NPCs after transformation is the same as their appearance when they died, in short, their dead appearance. Wang Wan, don't worry, Boss Chiang's woman is very bold, she won't be scared. Besides, she's seen how I died, and I acted like nothing happened the next day. Bai Jiu, Sister Wang, among us, your death was the most gruesome, you were completely disfigured. Tao Xiao, that's good. If she's not afraid of your dead faces, then mine definitely won't scare the pretty lady either. Su Ningbo, You guys say she's not afraid of dying, but isn't she afraid of the stench? I stink a lot. Meena, I don't know. Bai Jeyu, ha ha ha, I don't know either, but we can't stand the stench you smell at work. You'd better watch yourself, bro. Su Ningbo, old Bai, you finally got a chance to laugh at me. Don't be so smug, I definitely have a way to solve this. I'll take a shower to reduce the odor, so it doesn't stink up to the boss's woman. Meena, I forgot to mention, Boss Jiang was hiding next to her the whole time. I was so scared just now that I was hanging there, not daring to move an inch. Su Ningbo, forget it, if the boss is with her, I'd better not shower while working to reduce the smell. Otherwise, the boss might think I'm slacking off. Bai Jeyu, bro, I advise you not to take a shower. What if Boss Jiang misunderstands and thinks you're deliberately showering to reduce the smell in order to seduce his wife? You'll be in real trouble then, ha ha ha. Su Ningbo. In the subsequent instance where Su Ningbo was located, everyone covered their noses. Why does it smell worse and worse? Of course, that's a story for later. Let's get back to the story of this instance. The third day. Qin Shishi was a little listless. Although she hadn't asked Jiang Yi to take her to see Meena after returning home last night, she knew what Meena was doing at night. Although lunch was still delicious, everyone ate it without much interest. Because they discussed and analyzed the clues they had obtained yesterday. Zhushini, yesterday, Li King and I found an unmarked medicine bottle in the chemistry lab. Li King, based on the poison residue in the medicine bottle, we found that the same poison had been put in the high-end water tank in the school cafeteria. Ma Lixin, it should be that after Meena was developed, she was put into the water tank before she was hanged. The group couldn't help but feel relieved that they hadn't been willing to spend their meager savings to buy water from the high-end water tanks, otherwise they too would have been poisoned to death without knowing it. Oh my god, so that's how it is. No wonder those players who suddenly died earlier died. They were poisoned. Yeah, I just remembered that when I was watching the live stream, the people drinking from those high-end water tanks were all players with a lot of assets. I was wondering why I suddenly died when we were eating together. Turns out I wasted my money. Damn it, I wasted a reboot card. Upstairs, even if you hadn't been poisoned by the water back then, you would have died later because of mission failure. That's true, this dungeon is so rare, it's almost unlike an S-rank dungeon. I also think this dungeon is really difficult. Although the mini-boss only appears after 9 PM, she won't attack you unless you go out at night. If you don't break the rules during the day, the ghost students won't attack you. Fortunately, they survived to the 7th day, but without finding any clues, they could only wait to die. Wow, Keen is amazing. This is only her second instance, and she's already broken through the clues so quickly. I hope I can run into the beautiful Keen in the next dungeon. I want to win without lifting a finger. Wavy dash. Keen Shishi, we have found Meena's body. It was hanging in the woods behind the school playground, but she only had one shoe on her foot. I guess her other red shoe should be in Songji's hands. Jiang Gayan sat beside Keen Shishi, his fingers occasionally stroking her hand placed under the table. Keen Shishi was teased by him and gave him a playful swipe with her hand. Jiang Yi winced as she withdrew her hand, which had been slapped red, turned her head to the side, pouted, and teardrops welled up in the corners of her eyes, her expression instantly becoming aggrieved and pitiful. He brought his right hand, which was red and bruised from being hit, to his lips, staring intently at her, looking like a fragile, innocent lotus flower about to break. Keen Shishi was completely bewildered by his behavior and felt guilty, wondering if she had hit him too hard and hurt him. Author's note: Shishi, wake up. This guy is a master at seducing you. He's just a hypocritical, innocent-looking woman pretending to be weak. P_P. Ma Lixin continued Keen Shishi's words, saying, Songji is a red shoe enthusiast. I guess after Meena committed suicide, the shoes fell off without the straps, and this pervert collected them. How perverted. They even go after the shoes of dead people. My God, I thought he was a cool, rebellious young man, but I never expected him to be a pervert. Upstairs, you can actually appreciate the good looks of that pervert Song Ji. You're hopeless. No, I didn't know he was so perverted back then. Now that I know, I just find him creepy and terrifying. Sigma. Why does Song Ji only collect one shoe? I guess there was another one stuck to the corpse's foot, and he was so scared that he only dared to pick up the pieces that had fallen off. Today's English class was the first period in the afternoon. During the break after class, Song Ji tentatively asked Keen Shishi about the time he fainted in the woods yesterday. Teacher Keen, why did you leave me there alone yesterday? When Song Ji said this, his tone carried an air of accusation. Keen Shishi rolled her eyes inwardly. You were about to lay a hand on me. How could I possibly be kind enough to wait for you to wake up and continue to harm me? But she pretended not to know and innocently asked, Song Ji, you took me back to my dorm yesterday. Where did you stay? Seeing that Keen Shishi had absolutely no recollection of going to the woods with him yesterday, Song Ji's lips curled into a strange smile. Really, maybe I remembered wrong. Teacher Keen, you don't have class tomorrow. I'd like to invite you to my house to see my collection of red shoes. You can also try them on, they'll definitely look great. Keen Shishi naturally knew she would definitely have to go tomorrow, so she put on a forced smile and slowly replied to Song Ji, okay, thank you for the invitation, Song. But don't you have class tomorrow, Song? Song Ji gave a wicked smile and said jokingly, Teacher Keen, don't worry. I have something to do at home tomorrow and need to go back to ask for a day off, so please consider this a home visit. As the bell rang for the second period, Song Ji left the office to go to class. Keen Shishi then told Ma Lixin and the other two about Song Ji's invitation to her to his house. Ma Lixin tilted his head and thought for a moment before saying, this might be a good opportunity to get Mina's other red shoe. Zhu Shini worriedly said, but all three of us have classes tomorrow. What if Shishi can't handle going alone? Li King chimed in, yes, if the three of us skip class and don't teach those students, we'll be breaking the rules. Keen Shishi glanced at the person who was sitting quietly next to her workstation. With such an amazing boyfriend by my side, what could possibly happen to me? Jiangi noticed Keen Shishi's gaze and looked on with anticipation. It's great to do a mission with my baby tomorrow, no one will bother us. Song Ji doesn't count. Keen Shishi also said what Jiangi had been hoping for. I have props for self-defense, I can handle it. Just wait for my news. On the fourth day, Keen Shishi went to Song Ji's house in a car sent by Song Ji's family. Before them was a grand villa. A man who looked like a butler opened the door for Song Ji and then led Keen Shishi into an exquisite room. Teacher Keen, let me show you my collection. Song Ji raised his hand and turned it around somewhere in the room, and the wall in front of Keen Shishi was flipped over. This was a secret room. Song Ji could hardly contain his excitement. Keen Shishi thought she would probably have to resort to forced leave today. Chapter 17 When a beautiful woman gets angry, she'll even break the sole of her shoe. How is Teacher Keen? Isn't she beautiful? After Keen Shishi entered the secret room, Song Ji closed the door and said with a wicked smile. As the door to the secret room closed, Keen Shishi became wary. Although Jiangi was secretly following her, she still couldn't let her guard down. She looked at the walls covered with red shoes in the secret room and asked with feigned interest, why does Song like red shoes so much? Song Ji did not rush to reply, but slowly walked to the wall where shoes were placed and took down a red high heel placed in the center. Seeing him stroking the red high heel with a look of fascination, Keen Shishi quickly scanned the hundreds of shoes and found Mina's other shoe in a corner. Mom, this is my English teacher. I like her a lot more than I did with my previous disobedient girl. Keen Shishi stared in disbelief at Song Ji, who was talking to himself in a distorted manner while looking at the red high heels. Teacher Keen, would you like to wear these high heels and stay by my side forever? Song Ji asked Qin Shi Shi with a frantic expression. Qin Shi Shi was also startled and took a step back. Qin Shi Shi, does this mean he wants her to be his mother? Jiang Yi had already noticed that the naughty NPC had scared his wife. With a cold face, he immediately wanted to go up and beat Song Ji, but Qin Shi Shi quickly grabbed his sleeve and shook her head to signal him not to act impulsively. If you want me to stay, Song, you should at least tell me about this red high heel. Qin Shi Shi still hadn't fully adapted to the perversion of this terrifying world. Although she had a reassuring boyfriend by her side, she still felt a chill creeping into her skin, causing goosebumps to rise uncontrollably. Seeing that Qin Shi Shi did not directly reject him, Song Ji's eyes lit up, and he began to tell the story of the red high heels. These red high heels belong to his mother. She likes to wear pretty red shoes. He also liked his mother wearing it. He originally had a happy and fulfilling family. Until his parents started arguing frequently, and his father brought a woman home to upset his mother. The mother, enraged, hit the father's mistress. Later, they argued again, and the father locked the door and strangled the mother to death in bed. As a young boy, he wanted to play hide and seek with his mother to surprise her, so he hid under the bed. However, he was too scared to make a sound or come out because of his parents' argument. Once everything had calmed down, a red high heel landed beside the bed. Only the father's cold voice rang out, "Butler, madam has suffered a heart attack and passed away. Send someone to handle the situation." He reached out and pulled his mother's favorite red high heels from the ground into his arms, then slipped out while his father wasn't looking. While he was listening, Qin Shi Shi took advantage of his reverie to quietly move to the wall to his side and hide Mina's red shoes behind her back. When he stopped, she couldn't help but ask, "Don't you hate your father?" "I don't hate her. If my mother hadn't been so petty and intolerant, why would my father have strangled her?" Song Ji said calmly. Qin Shi Shi felt sorry for Song Ji's mother. How could she have given birth to such a wicked child? She quickly suppressed her disgust and continued to ask, "What about the other red shoes? Those weren't all your mother's, were they?" Song Ji sneered, "Those are disobedient people. Since they are unwilling to stay and accompany me, they naturally do not deserve to wear such beautiful red shoes." The wall was covered with red shoes, each one representing a pitiful girl. Qin Shi Shi could no longer pretend. Her face turned cold as she questioned him. "The girl in the red shoes from class 7 of the second year of high school didn't come to class because of you." Song Ji simply scoffed. "She looks so beautiful in those red shoes, yet she refuses to accompany me, saying they're the only gift her mother left her. Since she's so ungrateful and won't give me the shoes, then I'll naturally put in some effort to make her willingly let me fetch them." Qin Shi Shi's beautiful face was filled with anger. If the rage in her eyes could burn someone to death, she would definitely burn this bastard to death. "So your plan was to take it from her body after she died?" Qin Shi Shi didn't notice that her voice had become somewhat fierce, but Jiang Yi noticed her emotions and tightened his grip on her hand. "Oh, Teacher Qin knows. Then please don't leave today, teacher, stay here with me forever." Song Ji showed no panic at being discovered. Instead, she approached Qin Shi Shi with a frenzied expression, holding the red high heel. Qin Shi Shi couldn't hold back any longer. She wanted to show this pervert that when a beautiful woman gets angry, she can even break the sole of her shoe. "Baby, hold him down," Qin Shi Shi instructed Jiang Yi. Song Ji's expression twisted, and he grinned mischievously. "Teacher Qin, are you calling me baby? I'm so happy." The next second, he was no longer happy. With a thud, Song Ji was seen kneeling on the ground, unable to move his limbs. He struggled and angrily cursed at Qin Shi Shi. "What happened? Why can't I move? Did you do this, you?" Jiang Yi had already misinterpreted his wife's words, claiming that her baby was unhappy. Now, upon hearing the vulgar language directed at his wife, he immediately kicked him. Don't knock him out. I want him to be awake and receive his punishment. Qin Shi Shi stopped Jiang Yi from kicking again, took out the red shoe that Mina had hidden behind her back, and swung it at the beast's head. A series of whipping sounds rang out, and Song Ji, still stubborn and arguing, was slapped across the face by Qin Shi Shi with the sole of her shoe. Afraid of actually damaging Mina's shoes, Qin Shi Shi turned her head and stared at the wall full of red shoes. Then she took down every single red shoe from the wall and started whipping Song Ji. Seeing that he was about to swear, Qin Shi Shi took off her own shoe and stuffed it into his mouth. Qin Shi Shi, if you like red shoes so much, why don't you go eat your own shoes? When she drew the last one, Qin Shi Shi saw the red high heel in Song Ji's hand. Almost missed it, Qin Shi Shi snatched the red high heel and slammed it hard against Song Ji, whose face was already bruised and swollen like a pig's head. Let's leave the final touches to Song Ji's mother's shoes. Before it got dark, Qin Shi Shi took all the victims' red shoes away from Song Ji's house and buried them in a secluded place. Afterwards, rubbing her sore arms, she and Jiang Yi rushed back to school. Before she arrived at the dormitory, Ma Lixin and the other two were waiting for her with great concern. Qin Shi Shi handed over Mina's shoe. Got it. The faces of the group were filled with joy. Zhu Shini said happily, then let's go to that grove of trees now and match Mina's shoes. Li King stopped him, saying, it'll be 9 o'clock in 20 minutes. I don't know if we'll make it in time if we go now. Ma Lixin analyzed, it's too late. It takes half an hour to get there from the dormitory. Last time, Shi Shi and I almost missed our train. Qin Shi Shi thought that since they already had the shoes, it didn't matter whether they got them today or tomorrow, so she said, everyone should go back and rest. Anyway, we can finish the mission tomorrow, so there's no rush. Everyone nodded in agreement. Day 5. Ma Lixin's class was the first one, so he went to class. Qin Shi Shi, Zhu Shini, and Li King then went to the woods where Mina hanged herself. As Qin Shi Shi put the shoes she had found yesterday on Mina, a white light exploded in front of everyone. The system notification sounded in the minds of every player. Congratulations on completing the Virtue High School Dungeon Quest. System rewards have been issued, please check your account. After the white light disappeared, only Mina, wearing a pair of pretty little red shoes, remained hanging happily from the tree, swaying back and forth, accompanied by the rapid typing sound of her ghostly phone. Chapter 18 Horror Dungeon, Happiness.